welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new here. My name is Leanne, and today's video is one that I have been really excited about making because we finally got our finished renovated RV. So I think a few videos back I talked about how during the remodeling of our home we're going to have to move out for a little while most likely. So we weren't sure where the best place to go would be, if we should try to find a short-term rental, if we should just rent Airbnbs, but neither one of those options really made sense to us. We really wanted to be able to stay on the property while they were working on the house, and so we thought an RV would be the perfect option for that. Not only that, but we've also been talking about doing a little bit more with Jake as far as taking him to see the country. So being able to take it out west sounded like a lot of fun. We also have all of our family still in Florida, so we were thinking, maybe we'd get a condo down there eventually, but getting an RV actually just checked all the boxes. So that's what we decided to do. So when we started the process of looking for an RV, because neither one of us have ever owned one or really spent much time in one, I wasn't sure if I wanted to go new or used or what model I wanted, so I really decided to just make a list of all the things that I was looking for in a rig. And if you're new to RVing or you're thinking about getting one, I would highly recommend starting there, just deciding what's really important to you. So for us, the number one thing was for all of us to have our own little area. So, we wanted to have a bedroom with a door that closed. We wanted Jake to have a room that closed. That way we all weren't having to go to bed at the same time, like 8:30 when Jake goes to bed. We'd have a little bit of separation. So I knew I wanted to find one with a bunk house, because typically that's where your second bedroom comes in. I also knew that if we're living in it full time, I'm going to need to be able to cook some of our meals, because I typically cook most of our meals at home. So having a functional kitchen was also really important. Not that I'm going to be like cooking, giant meals in here, but I wanted to be able to at least prepare simple meals for us. A bathtub was also important because Jake doesn't take showers. He still takes baths. So I wanted him to be able to enjoy that while we were on the road. So all of those things kind of went into the type of RV that I was looking for. We talked about maybe trying to find an Airstream because Robert really loves those, and we've read that they're typically easier to pull, but it just didn't work for us. They only had one bedroom. I don't think any of them came with a bathtub that I saw. They were very, very narrow, not a lot of living space, so it just wasn't right for us. So I started looking at new RVs that fit our criteria, and there were some really nice models out there, and you can configure them to your specifications. You can choose some of the finishes and things like that. But every one that I saw just did not feel like home. It didn't feel cozy. It just felt like you were in a travel trailer. And I really did not want to go that route if we were going to be using this for our vacation house, using it to live in temporarily while construction is happening. So I knew that I wasn't going to be happy with the interior of a brand new RV, and I just couldn't see spending all the money for a new rig and then changing everything inside. So I ended up talking to Tennessee Campers. They got back with me really quickly, and they were excited to help us on our new journey. They said that they would source the RV, they would fix the RV, do whatever needed to be done, remodel it to my specifications, because it's our home and I really wanted it to feel like us. They do beautiful work, don't get me wrong. Their design work is spot on. It's beautiful. But there were some things in our RV that I really wanted to personalize for us. So they were happy to work with my designs. So I got some mood boards and stuff ready, colors, things that I liked, sent them over so they'd have an idea of what my style is, sent them a Pinterest board of renovated RVs that I really liked. And then they got to work sourcing the RV, and they did. They found exactly what I was looking for. They actually negotiated the price for me, did their own inspections, and then suggested other inspections be done by the dealership. And really all I had to do was wire the money and sign the contract to purchase it. So it was super painless for me, which was really nice because they're in Tennessee and I'm in Georgia, and there was just no way for me to get over there to even take a look at the RV. So once that was all done, they picked it up, they brought it back to their shop, and then we did an in-depth FaceTime walkthrough video where they showed me each room, gave me their ideas, which were all amazing. We talked about my ideas for the aesthetics, and then I did some design boards for each room of, you know, what I was looking for as far as paint colors and flooring and wallpaper and all of that, and sent that over to them. And then they did all the work. They just brought my ideas to life, and they put in their own ideas that were just absolutely amazing. So I highly, highly recommend checking them out. I'm going to leave their link in the description box, especially if you're thinking about going this route and you don't have any experience remodeling RVs, because it can be, you know, a little daunting to get in there when you don't know what you're doing and you don't know what you're looking for. I know in our trailer they found some water damage that they fixed, and they resealed the roof for us. All these things that, you know, I wouldn't have even thought about, they knew to look for and to do. So they were extremely helpful. And then I actually could not get there physically to pick it up either, because Robert's schedule has been pretty crazy the last couple of weeks. So I hired a delivery company, which again, I've never transported an RV or anything like that, so I wasn't sure how that would go, but it went great. I used a company called You Ship for Less, I believe, and I will link them in the box below too, because they were also really fantastic to work with. So that is why we decided not to go with a brand new RV and to just get an RV that could be refurbished. I'm going to obviously take you through today and let you see what it looks like, and I could not be happier with the way that it turned out, and I know I would not be as happy if we were in a brand new rig that I didn't get to personalize at all. So if it doesn't matter to you, it doesn't matter to you, and that's great. But if it does, this is a good alternative to, you know, having to do the work yourself. But yeah, so let's get started with the tour. Okay, so let's start the tour when you walk in the door. I'm kind of crammed into the corner here, but this is the door when you come in, and then you walk right into the kitchen and living and dining area. You'll see that we have the slide out right now, and it's a little bit dark in here. It's hard to like get the good light, but I'm gonna try. See, inside the slide out, they did the vertical shiplap, and then they did this really nice natural wood border around, got rid of the original border that was there. We also put in the new floors. I love these floors, they're so pretty. And then they also took out the sofa that was here and suggested this one. They've used this in their rigs before, and it's actually really well priced and pretty comfortable and a great size for an RV. So for the dinette, I knew I wanted to add as much storage as possible in the unit. So they took out the dinette that was originally here and then built this banquette, and there's storage all underneath here, so you can store a lot of things. They also switched out the table. The table was rectangular, and they actually just cut a top for the bottom here, and then stained it for me. So this is the kitchen. We also went with the shiplap in here, and I really love that. We have a convection microwave. Not sure exactly how to use that yet, but we'll figure it out. What I love too is that this actually came with frosted glass, but I really didn't like it. So we decided to do the rattan, which I love, and it just gives a little more texture to the cabinet, and it was an easy fix to get rid of the frosted glass. We went with butcher black countertops, which I also really love. They're just a plain maple. And then for the cabinet color, we went with Sherwin Evergreen Fog. And then what I also love is this really beautiful brass sink and then faucet. And they actually suggested the sink, and I'm so glad they did because I really, really love it. One thing about this unit, the previous owner did do a lot of upgrades. So this refrigerator is upgraded. It's actually larger than most RV refrigerators. Not complaining about that at all, because it'll be nice to be able to store as much food in here as we possibly can, because we have a very hungry 4-year-old. Another thing that I loved about this unit is the fact that it did come with a pantry. And they added these really nice shelves up here with the lip. And it just gives so much extra storage. Here we have the bathroom. Hello. We decided to keep the vanity that was here because it was in really good shape. They painted it black. We added a little bit of board and batten to the wall and just finished it out with a round mirror. We also went with this vessel sink, which I really love. I was a little nervous at first when I picked it out because I decided to go bold, but then sometimes you always second guess what you're doing. But now that it's here, I really, really love it. And then we just went with the same butcher block countertops. And then the shower, they did the Duma wall, which is pretty popular in RVs because it does flex and move and it won't crack. And then they did this really pretty faucet. And we kept the original tub because Jake still takes baths. I wish I could fit in here because I also like baths, but I'm not sure if that's gonna work out. This is definitely one of my absolute favorite parts of the RV. This is Jake's little bunkhouse. And you saw in the before video that there were actually 4 bunks in here. My battery's about to die. So we took the 2 bunks out to give a little play area. Jake loves it in here already. And then they built this really nice shelf with cubbies for storage. And then we went with this really fun wallpaper. It's so cute. I love it. And then we did the board and batten in here, and this is Sherwin Williams Repose Gray. I'm going to link all of the paint colors and a couple of items in the description box below. And then we also have this closet. They did some shelves with the lip, a little space for hanging clothes, and then they built, let's see if we can get it to focus. They built cubbies inside here as well for extra storage. They also did this really beautiful faux mantle. We didn't want to add a lot of weight by doing a big thick piece of wood, so they just built this hollow mantle and then stained it the same as the tabletop. And I believe the stain is early American, but it turned out really, really beautifully. And just looking at it, you wouldn't know that it's not real. We also have TV hookups back here, but right now we're not sure if we're going to put a TV in here or not. We also will have a TV in our bedroom, and we watch a lot of our TV in there. So right now we just have this really pretty piece of art. And then over here is our bedroom. So I really wanted as much space in here as you can get in a travel trailer. So the bed actually came this way, which gave you no space. But I had seen in someone else's video that they had turned the bed like a day bed, and I thought that would be a really great idea. So I asked if they could do that, and they said of course. So they rebuilt the bed, turned it this way, which gives us this much floor space. It's not a ton, but it's a lot more than you normally get. And because we do travel with some hanging clothes, I really wanted to be able to have some kind of, rod that we could hang things. So they built this nice shelf up here, and then this heavy duty rod for the wall. So we can put a little bit of shoe storage underneath and hang some hanging clothes. Jake's closet also has that. Any way you can add extra storage in an RV is good. We also have extra storage under the bed. I also went with Beddy's for the bedding here. And then we don't have a nightstand, so they built this little ledge for us where we could put our phones and our water at night. And then we have outlets here for charging, and then there's outlets over there as well. And one thing that I really love, and this is what I mean when I say that they are just great at what they do and they know what they're doing. We talked about what to do with this wall, because when we, originally bought it, we had the closets here, but this wall is sloped. I don't know if you can see how sloped it actually is, but it is sloped. And so, it was difficult to figure out what to do with this wall. And so he mentioned maybe doing some woodwork on it, and I love that idea. And I pretty much just gave them, whatever they wanted to do, just gave them full authority to just do whatever they wanted. And so they came up with this really pretty design on the wall. And I think it turned out really great. I can't remember the name of the wall color. It was one that they suggested, and I've never used it before, but I really, really like it, and I'm glad that I went with it. You could see it's not quite white. I think it is called something white, but it's not quite white, but it just has this really warm, kind of creamy feel to it. And I think I'll be using this color again.